there's a spectrum in retirement where on one end, I could just live this life of luxury and comfort and safety and accomplish nothing. And I think that would be thoroughly dissatisfying to me. But I could do it. Sounds pretty good when I say it out loud. And then on the other end of the spectrum is going and doing something really hard again, like starting another company or deciding I'm going to take on climate or homelessness or healthcare or education, something like that. And I'm pretty scared of that side, if I'm being honest. I've observed when failure is an option, it's probably going to happen. So I'm trying to find something that's closer to the middle where I can feel like I can be challenged and be useful, but also have success. And I don't mean to criticize, again, run your own race. I don't mean to criticize anyone, my friends that play golf every day. Good for you. If you fall into that slot, count yourself, I think, as lucky. And for my friends who have retired with vast sums of money and they're going at it again, or they're taking on some intractable problem, pat on the back, man. Just happy for you. That's just not me. Do you ever think about your, using my spectrum as an example, like, hey, I want to do that and it's challenging, but not so hard it's going to break my spirit?
I'm completely with you. And what you just said now is very similar to what I tell people when they ask me the question. So I'm exactly in that place. But I also do see people who who spend some time in the space where you and I are right now. And this podcast is, for me, a way to be helpful and useful and get that satisfaction without making it as hard as it was building companies before. But I also met people who spend some time in this space, and then they do find, usually very naturally, something very difficult to do, but they're so motivated by that time that it actually seems still quite comfortable. And that's what fascinates me. I love meeting these people. I love to understand why and how they got there. And I'm kind of playing with my own emotional reactions to what they're saying, to see, maybe actually that's where I'm going to be. But if I learned anything in my 13 years since my first exit, is that letting go and giving things time is extremely important. And for me, for example, my lifestyle is much more about setting myself up for good things to come into my life, as opposed to chasing them like crazy like I did before. But setting yourself up for good things to come is also quite a hard work. It's all about those habits you mentioned, and making sure that you have the right habits, you have the right attitudes, you have the right mindset. It's a lot of work, a lot of internal work, and then some external work as well, because you have to be very discerning with respect to the people around you, because they influence you without you fully realizing it. So for me, that's the whole, that's work in a way, pleasant work, but it's work. But I'm very curious about the future and where it takes me as I'm getting better at creating the system to invite good things into my life.
Yeah, that's an enlightened...
Does it make sense?
It makes perfect sense. It's a very enlightened view. And I wonder if you would have been able to record that and beam it back to your first exit, if you would have listened or not. In some ways, it feels like you have to go through it to get that enlightenment that you have.